A very, very good day, family. I hope you had yourself an amazing Wednesday. This is the Black Hot Fire updates on the Black Hot Fire Network, the media of the 21st century, on a beautiful Wednesday night, the 23rd of October 2024. And of course, I'm here to tell you about each and everything that was making headlines in Africa today. And especially, we're going to be focusing on Congo because a lot have been happening in DRC, especially in the North Kivu region of DRC. The video I was sharing was from 12 years ago. That was when instability had was on a high. I don't want to say had just started in Congo because Congo has been destabilized for quite a while. But it was when the chaos and the violence in Congo were at a peak. There was a ceasefire agreement a while ago, and the ceasefire agreement worked for a while. In fact, there had not been reported another incident since the ceasefire agreement until a few days ago when fighting erupted in eastern DRC with the March 23 movement allegedly taking control of Kalembe. In fact, they had control of Kalembe for a while. That is the March 23 movement. So they're the ones that ended the ceasefire agreement. The ceasefire had worked, as I said, for a while. The fighting had stopped for a while, but now it looks like we're back to ground zero. According to residents in the DRC, North Kivu region, fighting erupted early Sunday between the March 23 rebels and the government-allied militia, leaving more than a dozen civilians wounded. M23 then claimed that they had seized the town of Kalembe. The fighting marks the end to the Angola-mediated ceasefire agreement that was made between the Congolese army and the March 23, a group that is allegedly supported by Rwanda, that was agreed in August. That was when they agreed on the ceasefire agreement. Angola mediated the ceasefire talks between the March 23 and the Congolese army. And for 2 months, the fighting in DRC stopped for a while. Came down, the numbers came down, the number of attacks reduced. However, as I said, on Sunday, the March 23 movement, as obviously they would have done, ended the peace treaty because the peace treaty was not beneficial to certain entities, and of course, so they had to find a way to also make sure that they do away with the peace treaty that was agreed on in August in the Angola mediated talks. So now the March 23 they say is supported by Rwanda. I always believe that Rwanda does not have the capability to finance and fund a terrorist group, but they have the capability of being used as proxies to fund and finance terrorist groups. So if you look at the accounts, if you look at, for example, the number of Congolese army, Rwandese army fighting alongside the March 23 movement, you're going to find a lot of them. But of course, they want you to believe that Rwanda is the one that is funding the violence that has been happening in Congo, while in reality, Rwanda is a very poor country with a GDP of about 18 billion. That can't even fund nothing, not even a terrorist group somewhere that is allegedly terrorizing two countries, because Burundi also claims that Rwanda is the one behind the chaos, and they claim Rwanda and Uganda collaborate on these things, especially when it comes to
Exactly.
Yep. That is what they always claim. So the peace talks that had been mediated by Angola were of course not going to last for long, because the architects, and the architecture that has been set aside, and of course how things operate in those countries, there has to be war, there has to be chaos, there has to be a lot of instability, there has to be a destabilized economy, there has to be deaths and wars and chaos, and now nobody cares about the minerals because nobody even goes to school in those countries. And it is the same crisis that has been happening in Somalia, for example. In Somalia, the Al Shabaab has been terrorizing those
That's right. So
counties.
you know the template. It's the same
Mm,
copy and paste shit all over Africa. Go where the wealth is, cause destabilization, try to put some tribal things so you can divide and conquer and fight each other in some fake sectarian violence. While you still and rob them blind. Put your puppets in there to help you steal in the 70 of Kagame. They steal Congo blind. They do it for the white man. All that billions of dollars get siphoned. Just like you found out, every year there's billions of dollars, over 370 tons of gold is siphoned into the UAE, specifically Dubai. That's a ton of gold a day. How much a ton of gold is worth? Billions of dollars. How's the UAE getting into Africa stealing a ton of gold a day? A ton. A day. It ain't no African nation came together. Yeah, but yeah, ton a day. Ain't no African nation come together and say, you do it again, we got to go to war against Dubai and the UAE. You're supposed to bend that as Africans. But no, you can't come together as your own country, as Demore said. You choose tribal in your own goddamn lands, let alone to come together as Africans while you're getting robbed blind by these Arabs that can't stand us. It's a ton a day. How much is a ton of gold worth a day, Demore? How much is a ton of gold? You can't even make this up. Why Dubai looks like it looks and Africa looks like it looks. The stealing and the robbing of African people because you so tribal.
a ton of gold worth today in any market that is not Nigerian, if you do not take it to a Nigerian market, is they're giving me in euros. Let me convert that into USD.
Now, what's a ton of gold?
USD.
How much is a ton of gold worth?
So a ton of pure gold in any other
Yep.
market without Nigerian will be about 55 million.
God damn, what? Oh, 55 billion? That what you said
Million, million,
tomorrow?
million, 55 million.
So that's still a lot. So 55 million. So add that tomorrow times 306 is more than three because it's just 37. Let's just say a year. They were stealing a ton of gold a day. So add 365 times 55 million. How much is that a year?
That's a
If he's
big
no good,
number. That's a
it's
big
no good.
number. A lot of zeros.
It's no good. 30 Arabs if it's still out of Africa. How much is that a year?
Let me see.
That's gonna be a billion something.
Yeah.
That's yearly. That's what they think. It's probably more. That's what they surmise. 370 billion, like 370 tons of gold a year going to fucking Dubai or Qatar, Abu Dhabi, any one of these fuck ass nations yearly. So that's a billion. That's your road
Still
construction.
trying,
That's all
I'm
your
still
take.
trying. I'm
How
still
much
trying to
that?
read. I'm still trying to read the number, dividing the zeros because of how big it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's every year. Every year. That's a ton of gold every day being stolen
Wow.
out of Africa. Where Africans live in poverty, don't know what the hell is going on. You talking that Allah shit to me. You don't get out of my face. Shit. No good dirty Arabs stealing a ton of gold a damn day. I'm like, damn, ton. So they surmise it's 370 tons a year.
That is about
Shit.
20. That is about 20 billion and
20
75
big
people.
$20 billion a year. So they go, here's a lot of money. They go your roads, they go your schools, they go your taxes. Yeah, they go your military. 20 billion is no good Arab, but still the white Arab. Still for you every year. stealing it, not paying for it, stealing it. So he's getting all the money. That's why Dubai looks like it looks. Dubai's not an oil rich country. That shit ain't from no oil.
Mm.
That's from your gold, Africans, because they give you your goofy religions, how you fight each other, put the fake terrorists there. That's why Africans destabilized, because you're wealthy. That's just one mineral. You ask yourself, how is Israel the diamond capital, and now we know diamonds come out of Africa, and how is damn Dubai the gold capital? I don't even know how much damn diamonds come out of Africa. It's got to be 30, 40 billion too. But
Yep.
they steal it, they take it up to Israel.
In a place like Central African Republic, the amount of diamond there is crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, oh. And Africans don't get nothing from you. You're going to get bombed, you get dirty clothes, you got secondhand clothing, all this shit being stolen. Just those little two minerals alone are worth billions of dollars. Just those two. We're not talking about the coltan, the cobalt, the damn oxide, the ash, the shit. There's too much shit to even mention come out of Africa. It's absolutely crazy. The silver, the platinum, the uranium. Shit is absolutely crazy. How much shit is in Africa? Africa is
So
so blessed, it's a curse.
yeah, that's why there are wars everywhere. I was explaining, for
Of
example,
course.
you look at what has been happening in Somalia. You are born during
Exactly.
war, you live through war, and you die during war. So you never even get a chance to get educated or for you to know what is even happening.
No,
And
exactly, Demore. That's on purpose. And like you said, Somali's rich in, I forgot what minerals. Somali's very rich in minerals. That's why the wars are there. That's why they're there, Demore. That's why you got all the fake terrorist groups. Why don't you got all these terrorist groups running around the rest of the world? Why don't just only run around Africa all the time?
yeah, and also we're talking about countries that there's always war. And for example, in Sudan, you saw the aid organizations saying that the aid, humanitarian aid, can't reach the people anymore because the war is too much there. But the guns always reach the people. The weapons,
Yeah, how about that? That's right. The guns always magically find a way to get there.
the bullets and
Yeah.
everything always find
Yeah.
their way there. But apparently, we cannot get aid or food or medicine to those in need. But
Nah,
we can get it.
nah. That's right. Get the
Yep.
gun and the ammunition out of it so these Negroes can keep killing themselves so we can steal their shit. That's why, man. That's why when Africa became so weak, that's why you got all the colonization, then you got a little, supposed to got free of that, but they kept all the terrorists in it. You are the power of the planet. It's like a car. Africa's the engine. Any place else without Africa, the rest of the world doesn't run. Africa's the engine that powers the car.
And that is actually the main reason why they, for example, Gaddafi was assassinated because he was
Of
suggesting
course.
that we come up
Exactly.
with an African
And the
currency
currency.
backed by gold. And
That's right.
after he died, they found deposits and deposits of gold. He had stored and kept a
But
lot of gold that was
we,
going to back
but,
the
but, he,
top.
he's about African. All of Africa gold. See, that would have broke the Asians and the Europeans. They would have been impoverished. All their money is backed by nothing. Backed by doesn't not backed by minerals, not backed by nothing. So that would have broke. So that would have made the Africans on the continent immediately all wealthy. Not well off, wealthy. That made all man, boy, and child in Africa wealthy. That would impoverish the European. They wasn't gonna allow that. Now when they got now when they got mass weapons of destruction. Shit, I'm not about to allow you to make me poor.
Yeah, they said
I believe my wife.
he had mass weapons of destruction. Of course, used media propaganda to turn the people against him and
Of
everybody.
course, that's why you take the media out your country. You never allow when the media starts talking crazy, you get rid of these white people on media in your country. You shut it down, like Ibram Torre learned to do. You shut that shit down. You know your people still ignorant. They gonna believe what's being told. You shut that shit down.
That
Say,
is a
oh,
very big
news
advantage
gotta
about
go.
African media, the media that we especially now with the freer media, where now people do not rely even on the legacy media anymore to report. So it becomes hard even for the propaganda to sell because people can access the real information whenever.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know, Africans do not even ask for the media to report positively on them. Nobody wants you to report positively on Africa. Everybody just wants you to report objectively.
Exactly. They want to tell you,
Report
yeah. They
factually.
want, they want to tell you, oh, Africa is all fucked up and impoverished. And look at these poor, desperate niggas. They still need help from us, even though we robbing them all. Even though we robbing them all this shit, we're not gonna never show that part. We're just saying, look at these poor backward niggas. They can never get their shit together. Look at them. They really need us to come back in and recolonize them, so we teach them how to govern themselves. And I tell you, hey, you're stealing all our shit. You got some fake fucked up loans. That's why. Yeah, but we're not going to point that out. We'll say you Negroes are backwards and fucked up. Look at you. Look at you. You're tribal. You're still talking about this person, Kikuyu and Azua. You niggas are still the only tribal people on the planet. You're backwards. You need us to come in and rule you again and teach you how to take care of yourselves. When they tell me take care of yourself, it means them robbing the shit out you some more. Robbing you blind. That's their taking care of you.
Yeah.
And the funny part about I believe there's a video circulate. This is how psychopathic they are. So remember that the white man calls himself the indigenous American here now. He's the Indian. So you had a lady in Australia. I mean, I'm sure Demore can pull this up. You had a white lady, an Australian white lady, because King Charles was down there visiting one of his. We know the British stole the land from the black people in Australia. You got a white lady said, "You're not our king. You people stole the land and committed genocide to the original Australians." I said, "Lady, you looking yourself in the mirror? You're not no Australian." And what they do is crazy shit. That's what these psychopaths do. You stole the land from us, the original Australians. We want our land back. Lady, you're not black. Original Australians are black people. People you genocide. That's what you hear here too. You're a white man, blonde eyes, blue eyes. I'm an Indian. You're Indian. Indian from where? I'm an Indian from here. Like, what? You're European. I know you're from Indian. Yeah, the more. That's what they'll tell you right in your face. The psychopaths. They steal lands and then they steal people's identity. Like I told you, when they stole Africa, they stole all the African identity. They're now Achilles from the Troy city. They're now Hannibal. That's what they do. They steal your land and assume your identity. It's crazy.
Mm.
We go ahead. We go ahead.
You even saw in that movie, they were representing the Moors as white people, and I wondered, can't you read? In what world are
Hey,
the white?
hey, they don't care. They're psychopaths. They move into your land and claim your identity so they have ownership of the land. That's what they
But
do.
they are very strategic. I saw in movies that they want to portray, for example, the Moors who took over Iberia as savages who killed people and hate.
Savages.
Yeah, that is when they
Savages.
want to portray that they use black people. It's always the black people who are cast whenever the Moors are portrayed as savages who
Wow, the
um,
Moors were the civilized. The white people were the savages. That's in the movie. The Moors came to civilize them. The Moors was the civilizing people.
yeah,
Africans were the civilized ones. The white people were the savages.
mm.
That's their movies. Crazy.
But that's not what they show in history, and that is not what they're going to write and what they're going to show in
Yeah,
movies.
they're still savages.
Yep. Yeah, so that was Congo. In Congo, there was it is back again. The Congolese army says that they've taken back on Sunday. That is when the March 23 rebels, that is basically Rwanda, took control of DRC's Kalembe. There's a town called Kalembe. It's a very mineral-rich town somewhere in North Kivu. But the Congolese
They
army is
know
now
Steve.
announcing
But
that
remember, Kagame told you he don't know who these M23 rebels are. You don't have an idea where they are, or who they are. Why they get funded, Kagame? How they get clothes and shoes and food? They damn sure ain't Congolese. Never go ahead.
Yeah. So they took over that town, and that is a day after they seized Kalembe. The Congolese army are announcing that they have now taken it back, and they claim that they still have control over the country. The ceasefire is over, as I said, and the March 23 rebels are now on a rampage again. They are going to be terrorizing. There are
Yeah,
more
and
than 100
of course,
groups.
yeah,
That March
yes,
23 is
yeah, you ask yourself, uh, what do these M23 rebels want? Why are they terrorizing people? Nobody, that's the question. What
mm,
do you want? Why are you terrorizing the local people? You
one.
just want to terrorize people?
They say that the main reason they were started, they say, is because the government failed to honor the March 23 agreement. So that is the reason they give. You ask them what next now, what is the goal?
What
They
argument?
basically,
What's the argument?
of course, it's control of minds. Everybody knows
Of
that they want.
course. You don't have no control, no damn minds. You motherfuckers are Rwandese. You're not Congolese. Why
No,
should you have co-
when they say they showed evidently that there were Rwandanese army fighting alongside the March 23 rebels, Kagame said that, not Kagame, the Rwandanese government, I don't remember who the specific leader was, I don't want to misquote Kagame, said that it was because they were doing that for national security purposes. They were guarding the border. Yeah, that is the reason that Rwanda gives, that they are guarding the border. But why are you guarding the border so far much inside the
Yeah,
other country?
why you guarding the border inside my mind?
Yeah. Why are you guarding the border and
My
taking over
mind
my
got
country?
to do with your border.
Uh, yeah, and why are you guarding the borders inside my minds, by the way?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. Crazy talk.
Yeah, that is what Kagame claims. That they are guarding, they have to safeguard.
Got me saying got me saying because motherfucking built Rwanda. We ain't got no damn money. You stealing your money, and we're going to build. But see, if you didn't have no all these borders, you'd be one African. All these resources would benefit all of Africa. You can build all Africa into a powerhouse, not just one country. Get rid of Rwanda, get rid of Congo. Have one as Kwame and Nkrumah told you, all the resources of Africa will benefit everybody equally because there's more than enough resources for all of Africa to be rich, all of it. But no, everybody wants the little personal fiefdom, the little personal kingdom.
Yeah. And I'm looking at a report here, by the way, on the same, by a gentleman called Ibrahim. Mo Ibrahim. He's the founder of the Ibrahim Foundation. He's one of the billionaires we have in Africa. So they did a study that is showing that half of African countries are getting poorer every day. About half of African countries have gotten poorer than they were a few years ago. He said in his report, he said that the main issues, the main causes of African countries getting poorer was security and safety challenges, um, poor governance, including corruption and marginalization, and the others is conflicts, especially in West Africa. And of course, he had to add the last one, recent coups, such as the ones happening in Sudan. So that is why they did a report that showed that half of Africa has gotten poorer as days are going. So nothing is getting better, but if you look at the economy and how it's performing in comparison to how it was a few years ago, it's getting worse. The conditions are worsening, apart from a few countries that saw improvements a little bit. So that suggests, of course, most reports suggest that um, there is very low possibility of African countries making progress with the architecture that is there right now, the neo-colonialism architecture that we are operating on, where everything you do is controlled from somewhere else. So even when you talk about the poor governance, the governance in itself is not a democratic one. We talked about how democracy is a fallacy. If you look at the, the, the possibility of us having an election cycle every 5 years, 7 years, 4 years, and the country remaining the same. I mean, you see a country that has had 4, 5 presidents, but nothing changes. What is the mathematical probability that out of the 5 presidents that a country has had, none of them had the brains to actually do something with the country? How come we never experienced that? It's a mathematical absurdity. It's mathematically impossible that for 5 out of 5 will be having the same characteristics, and they will not give a care about what is happening in their countries. So uh, what Ibrahim's report is showing that in the current architecture, no matter what we do, unless we change some few things here and there, we're still going to be talking about the same thing as Africa getting poorer and poorer every day. We're still going to be talking about corruption, because corruption is enabled. If you do not enable corruption, it won't happen. And the biggest enablers of corruption are the bodies that finance African countries, because they enable corruption so openly. They make it so easy to steal money because they want the money stolen. So they'll give you a loan that they won't even follow up on, loans that were tied to non-entities. You saw the Uganda taking a loan to end FGM. I don't know how many millions to end, not FGM, to end domestic violence. Why do you need a loan to end domestic violence? Isn't that a policy issue that you can just craft legislature and, of course, have your security enforcement agencies more keen on how, hire a few counselors and put them in social institutions? Why do you need to borrow a loan for that? But now, if you look at the things that, for example, Mo highlighted in his report that showed that Africa is getting poorer by the day, he's talking about corruption. But then you look at who are the enablers of corruption. They're the same leaders we have. They're the same people who lend the leaders that we have, because they make the loan so loose that it becomes almost guaranteed that the money is going to get lost, because it hasn't been tied to anything. In fact, it is more beneficial to the ones giving the money if it's lost than if it's used. And of course, if that's the case, they're just going to make sure that they're going to put in policies that favor, that encourage you to steal. I mean, when you get money and the money is not even disclosed to the public, you see African debts coming with non-disclosure clauses. I mean, it's a public debt, but it can't be disclosed to the public how much you borrowed. So as a leader, as a greedy African politician, I borrowed 400 million, and I was told you don't have to disclose that to the people. Just tell them that you took a loan. They're going to pay anyway. There's nothing that they can do apart from complain and pay. So I take a 400 million debt that nobody knows. I told the public that this is an undisclosure debt. I can steal 370 for all I care. Nobody will know how much I stole. If we ask for an audit, I'm going to bribe the auditors and nothing is going to come up, of course. So now, the enablers of corruption, unless we deal with the enablers of corruption, I mean, it's just, for me, it looks like it's just common sense that when I lend money to governments that have had a history of corruption, and I wanted the best for that country, if I was lending money to Uganda wanting the best for them, if I was lending money to Senegal wanting the best for them, and having known the track record of how corruption has been in that country, I'm going to make it a little harder for the people to steal money. I'm going to demand accountability. I'll ask, what project are you going to do with the money I'm giving you? And I get an accounting report for the same. What is the project progress? But now, when in the current architecture, financial architecture that we have people who dish out loans and they never follow up on them because they don't want the loans even used to benefit the people. So we end up having only droplets of what was borrowed reaching the people. We end up having people getting 2% of the amount originally borrowed. We end up having so many stalled projects because it's now all about PR. It's about me showing I launched a certain project. I don't have to see it to completion because who cares anyway? Who knows how much I borrowed? What are they going to do to me? I'm going to bribe my way through all the judicial systems. I mean, I stole enough to bribe every other judge. And so that is the biggest challenge we have in Africa. It's not more so a policy issues, because every country has policies against corruption, policies against this and that. It's an issue of us not being in control, and therefore whoever is in control enabling some of the vices that we see, enabling corruption, enabling not have misappropriation of funds, enabling, illegal mining and every other, you look at the priority list of the government that we have in Africa. You look at the problems a country has and what it has prioritized, and the two do not ever match. I mean, a country will be poor as nothing. Talk about a country like Ethiopia, and they're going to focus on building a new airport, a bigger airport than the one they last had. While in reality, 98% of the citizens have not even been. I'm not talking about Ethiopia, I'm talking about Africa generally. You look at it's focusing on building a bigger airport, while the one that is there does not even serve the people. The people do not have money to take flights. They are fighting hand to mouth. The only the middle class and maybe the elites and the upper class are the ones that are able to afford the same. The common citizen is struggling to get food. Anyway, Job is coming up in the next few minutes. Make sure you join her. This has been the Black on Fire updates. We're talking about ceasefire that has ended in Congo. As army, as the government-affiliated army and the March 23 movement, rebels clashed over the control of a town called Kalembe. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Stay safe. Much love, family.